Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Tara Gay Nicole here. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. As you can see, I'm feeling much better, thankfully. I hope you are doing well in this new year and your goals are amazing. So I'm here to talk to you today about sinking funds. Sinking funds to me are optional if you are at that point in your journey. I think a lot of people would like to get into sinking funds, but their question is like my title says, how do I get into sinking funds if I really feel like I'm already sinking with my bills and my debts and so on and so forth. So first I want to start off by telling you what my definition of a sinking fund is versus put together with what the actual definition is. And this is what I came up with. First of all, a sinking fund is simply put, in my opinion, a fund or saving that is created by periodically setting aside money for a gradual repayment of a pre-planned debt, a planned event, or an unknown kind of cost or emergency. I think this is also not to be mixed up with an emergency fund. An emergency fund, I think everyone, it depends on how much you make. Like if you make under $20,000, try to have at least $500 emergency fund put away. If you make over that, try and put $1,000 away. I actually think over the time I would like to have $2,000 at least. Actually, I'd like to have 1 month of salary put away. So for me, that'd probably be more like $2,500 or something. But for now, as I'm trying to pay off debt and stuff like that, just start with at least $500 to $1,000. Put it away. Leave it there. Do not touch it unless you do not have any money at all. So leave that alone. So now we're talking about sinking funds. So a sinking fund, in my opinion, is so we have 3 different kinds. I've broken it down into 3 different kinds. We have a pre-planned debt, which for me is like your car registration. If you're in a state where you know how much that's probably going to be every year. If you know exactly how much your car registration is going to be every year, you can break that down and put that in a sinking fund. Know it's there and you don't have to worry about it when the actual expense or debt comes up. Then we have planned events, which are more like your vacations or some kind of charitable event you know you're going to give your money to, or something like that, that you plan for and you have a cost that you have in mind that you're saving for over time. And then the other one is like an unknown cost. So possibly you have a sinking fund for car repairs and maintenance, and that way you know you're rounding about how much your car repair or your maintenance would be, and you're saving up for that over time. And I keep saying over time because how do you set up a sinking fund? When you want to set up a sinking fund, you have to decide, of course, how much you want to put in that fund or how much you feel that fund will need. So let's say I'm talking about a car repair fund. If I know myself, my car might need an oil change twice this year, and I know that's $30, I'm putting $60 in there. Plus, let's say I know it needs a tune-up, that might be another $400. That's another so that makes $460. And it might need tires, so that's another maybe $400. And I always suggest estimate, so we're looking at like $860. So you know that you might want to put your car maintenance fund in $860 and divide that over time. Now, what I would say the best thing to do is call your local automotive place or whoever your fund is for. Find out how much a tune-up usually costs for your particular car. Find out research how much your oil change will cost. Research how much your tires will cost on your car. And then get an estimate and then add that to your sinking fund. So then what you want to do is so you would take that amount and you would divide it by however long you think you're going to have before you need to do that. So let's say you have an oil change, but you know you need to have an oil change within 6 months. So you might want to take that oil change, your $30, and divide it by 6 to get your 6 months, and in 6 months you will have $30 saved. Up and so on and so forth. So depending on how long you have to do it or get that money in. So I might want to donate $100 to charity by the end of the year. So I would take my $100 and divide it by 12, and I would know how much I would have to save in that sinking fund each month in order to get to that $100 by the end of the year. I hope this is all making sense. If you don't know certain things, like I said, you can go ahead and you can research it. You can ask someone, or you can look back if it's happened to you before. You can look back at that and see how much it actually cost you to do a certain thing. And like I said, you just take whatever your total is and divide it by however many months you have to save for it. If you want to do all of them over 12 months, that's fine. But like, for instance, I have a sinking fund, or I'm supposed to have a sinking fund, because I'm one of those people who feel like I'm sinking. So I don't know how that's going to do. So I'm going to do something different. I'm supposed to have like a $120 sinking fund for my contacts that I need to have in 6 months, because I only have 6 months worth of contacts. So the next 6 months I need to save $120, and I really should be putting money into that sinking fund. But I'm so behind on bills currently that I'm like, there's no way. I need to catch up on bills before I can do that. So here we go into what do you do if you don't have the money for sinking funds. Let's say you did all your bills. You did all your expenses. You did a cash envelope system that you need your groceries, your things that you need, and then you're like, nah, I have like $20 left or $10 left. There's no sinking fund here for me. You know what I mean? I've seen it. I've done it. What I would suggest you do is look at your expenses again. Make sure you're not paying for something that you don't necessarily need right now. Make sure that, do you need that cable? Do you need that Amazon? Do you need Netflix and cable? Do you need the telephone? And I'm talking to myself, because there are certain things I'm going to look at my budget and be like, do you need this, or can you be actually funding some of your funds? And another thing is, and if you feel like you need it, I am not that person. Everybody's debt story is different. Everybody's finances are different. If you feel like that's something you're not willing to give up, then you're going to need to revisit your sinking funds, and you're going to have to decide where you're going to give up over there, because you can't have your cake and eat it too. There's no way. You don't have the money for it. So if you're not willing to give up something in your regular expenses, then you're going to have to give up something in your sinking funds, or don't have sinking funds. But then you're looking at probably putting yourself back in debt and putting things on a credit card, because you don't have any money set aside for anything. And remember, your emergency fund is supposed to be for emergencies. And yes, you can use your emergency funds when these things come up, but then you have to remember, you have to replenish your emergency fund all over again before you can start going back to paying debt. Or you could do whatever you want. It's your own journey, like I said, but that would be the smart thing to do, because if you keep diminishing your emergency fund, then you won't have one when you have another emergency. Then another thing is, get a side hustle. Find something that you're good at and do it. Whether you want to babysit, whether you want to walk dogs, whether you want to start being a telemarketer on the side, find yourself a work from home job, an actual store part-time job. If you want to start a Poshmark store, if you want to do anything, you know what I mean? Look, there's tons of videos out there on side hustles and what you could be doing to save money or get extra income in to your home. Then you can use your extra income. Just make sure you're budgeting so that you know to put your extra income to those sinking funds, because if you're going to get some extra income, know where your money is going, because I've been there. I've done that. I've got this extra money. Oh, I need extra money. Half the time I didn't need the second job, because I could have just budgeted on the money I was getting at my full-time job, but I didn't know that because I wasn't budgeting. First of all, big, bad B word. You got to budget first to see where you stand, to know if you even need to be doing all this extra stuff. And then, so once you figured out that, okay, my let's say my side hustle is going to go to my vacation fund, because that's all you want to fund or whatever. I'm not here to tell you how to fund your sinking funds or what to put in them. Girl, boy, whatever, that's your thing. But what I'm saying is, if you want to, you're either gonna have to take from your current expenses, or you're gonna have to find a new way to bring more money in. Also, like, call around. Maybe you're paying too much money on insurance. Call your insurance company. See if you can pay less on insurance. Maybe if you get something else through them, like renter's insurance or home insurance, it'll lower your actual insurance. Call around your car payment. Maybe you can refinance and get a lower payment if you've been working on your credit. Evaluate your grocery budget. Maybe you don't need that much money every month or every week for groceries. Maybe you can reevaluate. And these are just some ideas I'm giving you to look into. Maybe you don't need Hulu and Netflix. Maybe you just need one of them. Maybe you don't need to have that big of an entertainment budget. Just
kind of look at all the things, all the things. Just look at all the things and see where you can save money.
When it comes to some of your sinking funds, just to think about. Let's say you have a sinking fund for a vacation, but you're really not in the place to save, let's say $1,500 this year on an out of the country vacation. Maybe you can consider changing that sinking fund to something like $600, where you do a, maybe not even a staycation, but more of a local in the state vacation. Like if you live in New York or Jersey, you go to Florida, Miami for the 4 days or something and get good deals during good times and flights and stuff like that, and cut that $1,500 sinking fund to $500. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Finally, my last tip is if you're sinking and you have no money for a sinking fund, save in a major savings account, call it sinking fund, and save what you have. Because honestly, to be honest, that's where I'm at. Right now, I'm just kind of using my January and February budgets to kind of see where I'm at financially, what I really use, what I don't use, how my cash envelopes are going. For me, this is new, so it's trial and error for me. But once I figure out like, oh, I don't need this much in entertainment or clothing or something, or I don't need this much for groceries, or I don't need this much for gas or whatever it is, or I can find a way to cut my Geico bill down or cut my Sprint bill down or not pay for internet. Like a lot of people have been telling me to see if I could use my Sprint as a hotspot and cut down the cable and the TV altogether. When I figure out how to do all that, then yes, I probably will be able to start funding some of my sinking funds in like March and April, and that will be amazing. And I'm obviously gonna have to cut down some of my sinking funds because I have like 10 right now, and right now that's not where I'm at. And I do have a side hustle right now, and we'll see how that helps me, but I want to use that for debt, so now I need to look into getting another side hustle. But we talking about me again, so let's not talk about me. My last and final thing, and this is what I'll be doing going forward until I get to the point where I can save for a sinking fund, is just save what you have. Save what you have. If you do your entire budget, you do your cash envelopes, or you put aside money for your other variable expenses, and you only have $10 left, put it in a fund, call it, make a different savings account, make another savings account, and call it sinking fund. And what is happening? Sorry. Call it sinking funds, and just put whatever is in there. Put it in there. So let's say you only have $10. Let me give you 2 examples. If you break it down and you only have $10 left at the end of the month to put in your sinking fund, do it. If you get paid weekly, that's 52 weeks per year. You have $520 by the end of the year saved in there. If you get 26, if you split that in half and you're a double bi-weekly payer, you get paid every 2 weeks, you have $260 saved in there in a year with just $10. And then if you have $20 left over, you're looking at $1,040 if you get paid every week, and $20 at 26 weeks for every bi-weekly is $520. Let me tell you something, it's better than having nothing. And then when you get to the following year, you already have money in those savings, and then you can dole them out into sinking funds if you're able to do that. And if not, just keep saving. Like in my mind, I'm like, it's better to have, let's say you only had $20 saved up for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you have $100. If you do end up having a $200 emergency or something that happens, and you could take $100 from the savings, $100 from your emergency fund, and you'd still be better off than charging it to a credit card and building debt where they're charging you interest. Trust me, I know. When I had my emergency fund fully stocked and my car got messed up, it was the best feeling in the world to know that I didn't have to call anybody, I didn't have to charge it on the phone, and I didn't have to do all this extra in order to get this paid. Yes, it sucks. I saved it, now it's gone, but that was the purpose. Like, if your money has a purpose, let it do its job. But that's all I'm going to say about sinking funds, guys. Like I said, if you're sinking already and you want to have a sinking fund, do your entire thing. I'm not going to say don't tell me, but I think that somehow you will be able to find at least $10 to put in that saving funds. And by the minimum, you will have $260 saved by the end of the year, which is better than nothing. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, in order to be great, you have to be grateful. Have a wonderful, blessed day, guys.